they were never recorded in the history books, never taught, never remembered. But they happened. Somewhere between fact and fear, between the past and the impossible, they left behind only fragments and whispers. It was never supposed to be found. Whispers that never were. 1865. London was a titan of industry, a jewel of an empire. But beneath the streets, a great and necessary war was being waged. Joseph Bazalgette's grand sewer network, a new artery of brick and iron, was being carved from the ancient clay to save the city from its own filth. It was a triumph of progress, a testament to Victorian reason. But the earth beneath London is not mere clay. It is a graveyard of history. Overseeing the dig near the old Fleet prison was foreman Finnias Rook, a man who understood brick and mortar, but who also understood that some ground is best left undisturbed. He trusted his eyes, but he also trusted the shiver down his spine. On the 4th of September, the inevitable happened. The navvies, digging deeper than ever before, struck something that was not clay, not stone. It was a wall of crumbling ancient brick. Rook ordered them to halt, but the pressure of the earth was too great. With a groan of protest, the old wall gave way, revealing a dark, silent void. It was a plague pit, untouched for 2 centuries. They sealed it within the hour, a problem to be bricked over and forgotten. But something had escaped. That evening, one of the diggers, a young strong man named Thomas, collapsed with a violent fever. But it was a fever of the mind, not the body. A fever with no heat, no sickness, only visions. Within 2 days, 5 more men from the tunneling crew collapsed. All had worked near the breach. All presented with the same impossible symptoms. No physical fever, no contagion Dr. Thorne could identify, only a profound terror and a disconnection from the world around them. Thorne isolated them, his modern medical training providing no answers. The fever of the Fleet was spreading, and science was blind to its cause. The men's testimonies, when they could speak, were rambling and incoherent. They spoke of a different London, a city of wattle and daub, of filth and fear. They complained of phantom stenches, of the tolling of bells that no one else could hear. They were not merely sick, they were living in 2 centuries at once. Foreman Rook's patience had worn thin. He confronted Thorne outside the infirmary tent, his face a mask of grim certainty. He had seen sickness before, but this was different. This was a desecration.
This ain't no fever a powder can cure, doctor. That ground, it has a memory, and it's angry. You can't put a poultice on a curse. We woke something up, and if we're not careful, it'll pull us all down into the dark with it.
That night, Thorne could not dismiss the foreman's words. His notes, his science, his reason, they were all useless against what he had seen in the men's eyes. He had dedicated his life to logic. But the terror in that tent was not logical. It was ancient. It was absolute. Dr. Thorne's medical science had reached its limit. Faced with a sickness that defied all logic, he was left with only one terrifying option: to entertain the impossible. He sought out Foreman Rook, not with the arrogance of a physician, but with the quiet desperation of a man out of answers. "Rook, I need to see it. The pit. I need samples. I need to understand the source of the miasma." Under the cover of night, they returned to the freshly bricked wall deep within the sewer network. There was no ceremony. With a few powerful blows, Rook smashed the seal his own crew had made. A wave of foul, ancient air, cold and heavy, washed over them. They lit their lanterns and stepped through. The pit itself was a tomb of compacted earth and bone. Their lanterns revealed a nightmare landscape of skeletal remains, locked in the earth for 2 centuries. Amidst the bones, they found the last sad remnants of the lives they belonged to. the final, forgotten possessions of the plague dead. It was then that the air itself seemed to turn against them. The Miasma Rook had feared was real, an invisible contagion of the senses. Thorne, the man of science, felt his own mind begin to unravel. The pit was not just a grave. It was a place of psychic infection, and it was claiming a new victim. Dr. Thorne, shaken and disoriented, finally saw the truth. This was no disease of the body, but a blight upon the senses, an airborne memory clinging to the ancient air of the pit. He sought out Rook, not with theories, but with a question. How did our ancestors fight the plague's taint? They fought its rot with fire, and they purified its grave with lime. They knew some evils can't be healed. They must be burned away and buried under a clean, new stone. Their alliance forged in shared terror, they devised a plan, a synthesis of old wisdom and new purpose. They would not just seal the tomb, they would sanctify it. With a small crew of the bravest men, Thorne and Rook descended one last time into the darkness beneath London, armed not with pickaxes, but with fire and lime. As the first sacks of lime hit the pit's floor, the darkness seemed to lash out. The whispers intensified into a roar, and the fever, the memory of the plague, rose for one final, terrifying assault, engulfing them all in a shared, waking nightmare. And then it was over. As the last torch was thrown in and the pit was sealed for the final time, a new silence descended. Not the menacing silence of before, but a clean, peaceful emptiness. The fever broke, the men recovered. The great work of progress continued. Dr. Thorne's official report listed the cause as a neurotoxic fungus. But Finnias Rook knew they had simply laid the dead to rest. Thorne, a changed man, never questioned him. He had learned that progress is but a thin layer of brick over an ocean of history, and that some graves once disturbed can only be silenced by honoring the wisdom of those who dug them.